Hello again, this is Marco, and today I'm here by myself. My twin brother is not going to speak with me this time because today I'm going to speak about my own personal journey with the Pleiadians. And this journey started about 5 years ago at a ceremony, at a sacred plant medicine ceremony in California, the mountains. These mountains were called the Lake Arrowhead, and they're near LA, about 45 minutes away from LA. And by this time, I have no idea who the Pleiadians are. I had no idea about aliens or galactic beings, cosmic beings, or anything that had to do with the cosmos. I was into other things, meditation, yes, and I was just experiencing with plant medicines. So in this particular time, I came to this ceremony, and in the middle of the ceremony, around 3:30 a.m., I was just outside this beautiful house, this cabin, in the middle of nowhere. It was snowing, and there was this cluster of stars in front of me, and that's all I could see. And I was so grateful to be there, to have experienced this beautiful starry night, that it just was breathtaking. And at that moment, somehow I felt that right behind me there was a presence. I could just feel someone watching me. And in the beginning, I was a little scared because, well, of course, you feel a presence in the middle of nowhere. You get a little concerned. So I turned around, and of course there was nothing. So I just got up, and I figured I'll just go back to the cabin. So as I'm going back to the cabin, I kept turning around just to see if someone was following me. And more than scared, I was just like thinking there is someone here. I just couldn't see anyone. I could just feel a presence. So after as I'm walking towards the cabin and I'm turning around, when I turn around just to look straight again and keep walking, I saw these two beings right in front of me, sort of floating on the air, and they had extensions. They had arms and legs, but they didn't have hands or feet, and they did have a head but not a face. They look luminous, sort of transparent, but made out of light. They were completely human looking, and I was shocked, but I wasn't scared. At that moment, I was not scared anymore because I could see now who they were. And they presented themselves just like every race that is fifth dimensional and higher. They present themselves in a very loving way. So when I saw them, and since they do not communicate verbally but telepathically, my first question, as always, I encounter with some sort of beings, I ask, why am I seeing you? Why are you here? And their answer was the understanding, because they do not communicate through words. They do it telepathically, and it's basically an understanding. And they said, the reason why you're seeing us is because you were vibrating at a frequency of gratitude, and gratitude is the highest frequency on Earth, on planet Earth. And my immediate response was, I thought love was. And they said, no, love, it's a fifth dimensional frequency, and love is everything. And the only way you can have glimpses of what that frequency is through a life of commitment, dedication, meditation. So you can actually have a glimpse of what unconditional love is, but you don't live in that frequency, every single moment, because your frequency changes. But the most constant sort of frequency that you can remain on is gratitude. And through gratitude, your connection to the universe is immediate, and to love and to everything there is, because everything is love. So at that moment, they just kind of went away. And I was like, don't go. I'm not done. I have so many questions, but they were gone. So I just kept walking towards the cabin, and I got in and I told this lady that was guiding, one of the guides, one of the spiritual guides in this place. I said, I just saw these beings, and I explained what happened, and she said, they were maybe the spirits of the mountain. And it didn't really make sense to me. And I thought, spirits? Those were not spirits of the mountain. Those were aliens. Those were cosmic beings. And at that moment, my first thought was, I don't think they're from Earth. Eventually, I understood that they are. They are our ancestors. They are, they didn't seed Earth per se. They are not one of the 5 races that seeded humanity, but they've been here for eons, and they have contributed to humanity's development in too many ways. But anyway, continuing to the story, and we'll get back to that. I heard them calling me back, so I told this lady, this medicine woman, I said, they're calling me back. And she said, well, go. And I said, why don't you come with me? And I asked my twin brother to come as well, but and they did come. But when I opened the door of the cabin, I didn't feel a presence anymore. I was like, I don't feel them anymore. And my brother said, maybe they just want to talk to you. So the lady went back inside, and my brother did too. And at that moment, I felt the presence once again. And there was a porch, and there was like a long porch, and I was on this side, and then there was a flag on the other side of the porch, and the door of the cabin was on this side. So I saw the flag moving. It wasn't even windy, it was just cold, but the flag was moving very inconsistently, as if the wind was coming from different directions, and well, we know that's not possible. The wind just goes in one direction or the other, but it's constant. So at that moment, it just looked like it would come from everywhere, and that's how I knew they were trying to communicate through the flag, which it didn't make sense. I just knew that. So I walked. Before I walked, I said out loud, "Just know that I'm super scared, and know that I'm taking the first step." And when I said that, their answer was, "That's all we need you to do. Take the first step." And to trust, basically. So I take the first step, and I start to walk towards the flag that keeps moving. And when I arrived to where the flag was, it all of a sudden, it stopped moving. And it was amazing that as it stopped moving, I knew they were still trying to give me a message through this flag. And I was like, how? It's like, okay, so I'm here. So just please tell me what is it that you want from me. And please be nice, please be kind, because now I'm scared. But that was my mind kicking in. Because they were still not showing any sign of being threatening to me. It was just that my mind started to run at this moment. But I couldn't see them, I just felt them. At this moment, when I said, please let me know what is it that you want from me, the flag opened, like literally in front of me. And again, there was no wind, but the flag opened, and it said, coexist. And at that moment I said, you want to coexist with me? And their reply was, no, we want to coexist within you. And that's it. The communication stopped. And I didn't know what to think or what to do. I just went back inside, continued my journey, my ceremony. And the next morning I was walking, and I saw this lady sitting and looking at me as if she wanted to talk to me. And I said, can I help? Hi, how are you? And she said, so you saw the beings? I said, yeah. How do you know? She said, because they told me. I said, what did they tell you? And who are they? And she said, they are my guides, and they are called the Pleiadians. And at this moment, again, I was like, the what? So I didn't know this race existed, or they meant anything. And eventually I started to read about them, and I didn't really study them because I knew that it didn't matter how much I could study about them. It was more of a feeling thing. It was a personal experience. It's something that you have to experience on your own, because nothing that I have read matches my experience. It's not better, it's not worse, it's just different, it's unique to you. And your experience with the Pleiadians will always vary based on your commitment or what you're doing. And funny, because I usually experience the Pleiadians when I'm in meditation, but also when I'm in some sort of plant medicine, either ayahuasca or rapé or San Pedro, or I don't know. It doesn't Ambil, Mambe. It doesn't really matter. And the other day I was meditating, and I had done some rapé, and I thought, how come? And I felt them, and I thought, how come I feel you when I'm experiencing this medicine, these plants? And again, it's always an understanding, and the understanding was that our ancestors, the natives, all these tribes and civilizations that have experienced, or that have taught us how to work with plant medicines, they were all Pleiadians. They were all Pleiadian energies that taught them. And some of these people actually were Pleiadian emanations that came to Earth to take care of nature, to take care of Earth, because the Pleiadians are the guardians of Earth. They have earned that title. And the Pleiadians are also very present in Mount Shasta and in every mountain. So when I thought they were alien, not only was I wrong, they actually live there. They have bases in Mount Shasta, in the mountains, especially in the mountains, and they're doing planetary work. And Mount Shasta, it's a very sacred portal. It's a grid. It's part of a grid, an energy grid that they visit, and they are actually stationary there doing their work. And the natives know this, and they have boundaries within the mountain. And there are actually flags that set those boundaries. And like when I saw them, I didn't know why there were these flags not allowing you to go to the other side of these fields. I'm thinking, it makes no sense, I can just go. But somehow you don't feel like it's right to go. Like there's an energy that kind of keeps you from going. And as I'm having my experience with the Pleiadians in Mount Shasta, this is a different occasion, this is like about 2 years ago, I realized when I was hugging this tree, they were saying that this Pleiadian energy was telling me that it was a giant. It was like a 15 feet tall being, and I could see his shape. It was this huge tree, but from afar you could actually see the being energetically, but with my eyes actually open, which is always how I see them. I have never really seen the Pleiadians with my eyes closed. It's always with my eyes open. So whether it's my third eye or just my eyes, but they are very present physically. And I believe they are the only fifth dimensional beings, as far as I know, that can manifest physically on Earth, because they are so close. The Pleiadians are so close to us, so they can actually vibrate at this frequency at this density, that they can let themselves be seen physically. Whereas other races like the Arcturians, you could not see them physically, only etherically with your third eye. And that's how I see the Arcturians, only when I close my eyes or I'm doing some work. But the Pleiadians actually show themselves as they are. And when I'm seeing them in front of me, I don't see them like the way people channel them, like blonde, tall. I've only seen them like that once, doing a ceremony in my house. And I used to have 22 feet long ceilings, and I saw this huge giant Pleiadian coming down, and he kind of kneeled to our altar, which was full of different different plant medicines and different artifacts, indigenous artifacts, and it looked like he was just honoring those plants. And at that moment I didn't understand why. Now I do, and that's just because they are the ones that taught us this wisdom, how to work with medicine, how to work with plants, how to work with the consciousness of Gaia, because they are the protectors of Gaia. They are such loving beings. They are your friends. They are your ancestors. They are you. And I believe Cryon says that in one of his channelings, that they are really our ancestors. And I believe that, but not that they are our ancestors as in they are in our DNA, because again, they did not contribute with their DNA to this. When we were seeded, there were only 5 races that seeded humanity, but the Pleiadians weren't one of them. So they are not our ancestors as their DNA is in ours. It's mostly that they taught us so much that we have learned, and how we interact with them. It's like literally they are our ancestors, our grandfathers, because they were here first, and they will always be here. And it's such a beautiful energy. They talk to you in a very simple way, in a very practical way, so their understanding, you can apply it in that moment immediately. They don't give you big words or this universal understanding that you have to be so dedicated to your spiritual growth to understand. No, it's like a friend talking to you, literally. Of course, a very wise friend, but still a friend. Whereas other races, they talk to you with so much wisdom and so much mastery that you almost want to, bow to them, but they don't allow that either. They don't like to be bowed to. So my experience with the Pleiadians has always been of love, of gratitude, especially gratitude. So whenever I'm in a state of gratitude, that's when I experience it the most. And that's their agenda. Their agenda is to be known as not only as the protectors, because they're not really protecting, they're doing work. They're doing planetary work out of love. And they also teach through arts, through music. So if you're a musician, if you're an artist, if you're a poet, if you work with art, you're pretty much connecting to what they are here to do. And you might be, you might have Pleiadian energy in you, and not so much in you, but you might be working with their energy. And because a lot of people, they want to believe they're Pleiadians, they are Arcturians, they are this, they are that, and in essence we're everything, and we just get to work with certain energies at a moment in our lives when we need to work with those energies. So when people say, oh, I'm a Pleiadian, no, you're a human, and you're working with Pleiadian energy. And I don't want to discourage anyone from believing they are Pleiadians or they are Arcturians or they are anything, but when we actually go back to where we come from, these planets, these cosmic galaxies, or wherever we go back to, when we go back, whether when you're sleeping or when you leave this body, you can actually say very proudly, I'm a human, I was a human, and I had a human experience. A lot of these cosmic races don't know what being a human is or is like. So you should be honored to be a human. You should be honored to be on Earth at this time. Because a lot of people, they just want to go. They just want to go, and they claim to be Pleiadians. So they claim to be something else. And you should claim to be you. You should claim to be this unique being that is on Earth, also doing planetary work. And be proud of your heritage, of your ancestors, and honor that, because the 3D, this three-dimensional reality is not better or worse than any other dimension. The fact that we live on a 3-dimensional reality doesn't mean that we are lower than a 5th-dimensional reality. It only means that it has its own agenda, its own experience. So honor who you are, honor your humanity, because only by honoring who you are as a human being and every aspect of yourself, of your divine self, is how you get to connect to these energies. You will never connect to these energies by trying to connect to them. You have to connect through your being, through yourself, through your heart, not through something else. You are the answer, you are the prayer, you are the path, you are the love, you are the wisdom, you are everything. And as long as you connect to that truth, all these beings are assisting you, and they will be present in your life, in your work, in your love life, in every way, and not just the Pleiadians or the Arcturians or all these cosmic beings, but every angel, every archangel. So thank you so much for watching. We will be talking about our experiences with other beings as well. They're all beautiful, and if you have any questions, you can subscribe to our channel, you can contact us. My email, our email, it's below. So subscribe. Thank you very much for listening, for watching, and we'll see you next time. Namaste. Bye.